Everybody, we're just gonna wait a couple of minutes to let everybody in. It's barely 10 o'clock, and I know it says 10 o'clock. I believe this might be a faster, quicker webinar. It's just a lot of information to share, but should be a short one. And I'm hoping to get it done in less than an hour, but we'll see. It depends on your questions. Just one more minute before we start. I do thank you for being here. We will be having, or the Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce will be having an event on the 21st, the SoCal 2022 annual event. So we invite you to attend it. There will be matchmaking and a panel, different times, so you'll be able to jump in and out. And I believe Joanne just posted the registration information on the chat. So if you all want to get that and register, you'll hear from several state departments, as well as from, is it Sandy, help me out, but there's going to be some.
We have the Port of Long Beach. We have Skanska, one of the largest builders in the state. And we also have, of course, the California Transportation Agency and Los Angeles Metro. Of course, Department of General Services.
Yes.
I believe we have also Parks and Rec, and I believe they're also participating. So we have about seven buyers, 7 agencies.
Yes, so you'll be able to hear from different state agencies and local businesses too. So I believe it's 10:03, so we should be getting started. Sandy, you want to go ahead?
Well, good morning. On behalf of the Regional Hispanic Chamber, I welcome you this morning. It's an exciting day at the Chamber. This is the third webinar of a 3-part series presented by the Office of Small Business and Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Services in partnership with the Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We will discuss today procurement methods used by state agencies to make purchases, and we will also cover how to be certified small businesses and become preferred sellers in contracting with department agencies of the state of California. I welcome you. Our mission is to empower the businesses in California, and our goal is to expand procurement opportunities for SoCal businesses. Our partnership with the Department of General Services is one of the best partnerships we have had over the past 20 years. I thank him for this opportunity, and because their mission is also to empower businesses in California. I thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next week. We're preparing a great conference and a perfect matchmaking for you to join in a conversation so that you can do business with government agencies and get you prepared for that. So please, if you don't have your capability statement, please work on it because it will be required for next week. I thank you, and I turn it over to our partners at the California Department of General Services, Teresa. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We just a few housekeeping announcements. We will be using the Q&A if you have any questions. However, Joanne will be posting links and different things like that on the chat. Try to use the Q&A for questions. If you have anything else other than questions, you can use the chat, but let's stick to the Q&A for the questions. I'm gonna be starting with the contracting with California state government. Diane was gonna actually be with us, but Joanne stepped up and she's helping. So it will be myself, Teresa Macias-Reese, and Joanne Patty. We're both business outreach liaisons at the Office of Small Business and DBBE Services with the California Department of General Services. Before I send out the slide deck, because you will get a copy, I will make sure to change Diane's name for Joanne's, okay? These are some of the topics that we'll be talking about today. How the state buys. There's some contracts exempt from advertising. We'll also talk about the leverage procurement agreements, which are the LPAs, and then other procurement methods. We will also go over how to get contract ready. Some of the common mistakes that we heard from advocates that some businesses have done in the past, and maybe they didn't get a contract because of some of those mistakes. And then also some tips for success. And then of course, we'll go over the commercially useful functions super quick, because I know you have heard it in every presentation that we've done. And then we'll give you the resources that you can use to help you through the contracting process. And let's start. We're going to go over how the state buys. So the first thing you want to know is that the money that is used to make the purchases is our taxpayer dollars. So yes, we spend taxpayer dollars. And because we are using taxpayer dollars, the purchases are influenced by rules, regulations, and laws, which result in acquisition methods. So these acquisition methods are distinct processes and procedures for purchasing a good or a service. And it is influenced by what is being purchased, for how much money, and other conditions which every agency has different rules and regulations. Well, they don't have different rules and regulations, but there's things for the different type of contracts that they must follow rules. All right, so we have contracts that are exempt from advertising. So because they're exempt from advertising, you're not going to find them in Cali Procure. So they're not publicly advertised, okay? And since they're not in Cali Procure, you're not going to receive a notification from Cali Procure. If you remember on the past, if you attended the past webinars that we had, the other two, then we spoke about how you want to make sure that you put yes on the notification, but you're not going to get anything from here. Even if you have the yes to notifications, you're not going to receive it because it isn't found in Cali Procure. It is an informal competitive bidding process. So the buyers can search for you, for your business on Cali Procure, okay? And they'll contact you directly if they think that you can fulfill the contract. That is why on the last webinar, the I'm Certified Not What, we spoke about having a robust profile, okay? Because you want buyers to be able to find you, especially when it comes to this type of contracts, right? Because they're not going to be advertised and you're not going to be able to find them on Cali Procure. So I already spoke about this part, about having the robust profile. continuing with this. So we have the fair and reasonable, okay? These are, there's 3 types that we have. So the fair and reasonable, the SB, DBBE option, and the emergency contracts. So all these 3 types are exempt from advertising. Now, the fair and reasonable is for purchases that are less than $10,000. These are normally for purchases that are simple, and the buyers only need to get 1 quote. So they can just go to one of the businesses that they think can fulfill the contract, right? And they are awarded to the lowest bidder. And there is a variety of methods that the buyers can use to determine fair and reasonable pricing. They can do market research. They can do past purchases, like the pricing on past purchases. They can use a catalog. So there's different things that they can use. And these type of purchases can be awarded to SBs, DBBEs. So we're talking about certified SBs or DBBEs, but also to non-certified businesses. All right. So that's important to know. Now, the SB DBBE option, this one is only for certified small businesses and DBBEs, okay? It is for goods and services and IT goods and services that are between 5,001 cents and 249,999.99. So a penny short of 250K. For public works, it does go all the way to $388,000. But it does require 2 quotes from 2 SBs or 2 DBBEs. So the buyers are going to go and look for your business in Cali Procure, and they have to find at least 2 SBs or 2 DBBEs to get quotes from, okay? And it will be awarded to the lowest bidder as well. Continuing, now the emergency contracting, okay? Lots of money, so pay attention to these parts. So much money. $13 billion were spent on the last fiscal year on emergency contracts, okay? So emergencies, the ones that we've had is the fires and the COVID, right? But there's also floods, earthquakes. We had some flooding because of the fires. They eroded the earth. There's nothing to hold back the water. So yes, we've had some flooding in Southern California. Okay, so departments, they do have to follow some special procurement processes and but they can't ignore dollar limits. So every state department, they have dollar limits for the purchases, okay? And if they go over the limits, they have to require an exemption. But for emergency contracting, they do not. They can ignore those dollar limits. They do still have to follow the procedures for the procurement, but the dollar limits can be bypassed. Now, if you're interested in doing emergency work, you have to sign up in the SB DBBE Emergency Registry. You can contact an advocate of the department that you want to work and let them know, because you want to, in the past, we've told you in the past webinars, we told you to doing market research to see who has purchased the goods and services you sell, but that's what this part is all about. Still contacting the ones that have purchased in the past, okay, including emergency purchases. And then you have to be prepared, like ready as of days before you sign up, or months or years, whatever. You have to be prepared and able to perform the work in unusual and unexpected circumstances and without a written contract a lot of the times, okay? Because if it's an emergency, they're going to tell you, I need you to do this now and let's do it, okay? Continuing with the emergency registry. The SB DBBE Emergency Registry, it's separate from Cali Procure. It's not the same, it's separate. So this is something that was designed by our area to try to include more certified SBs and DBBEs in emergency purchases, because there is so much money in there. So it is the list of, just like I said, certified businesses, and it is used by state departments to look just for certified SBs and DBBEs that can perform in a moment's notice or deliver the goods and services that are needed in an emergency kind of moment. Okay, SBs and DVBEs, SBs and DVBEs must be ready, okay, to perform the emergency contract. That's, and I keep repeating that because it's key, okay. And there are predetermined categories of goods and services in the emergency area, okay, and I'm gonna put them in here. I'm not gonna go through all of them. Anyways, these are some of them. The list keeps growing as needs in times of an emergency are known about, okay? But these are some of the ones that we know of at this time. So if your business can perform in any of these categories and you're able to deliver on a moment's notice at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, then this is something that you want to sign up for, okay? So to register, you're gonna need your certification number. So yeah, you need to be certified. The emergency categories that I just displayed. Anyways, you're gonna get a copy of the slide deck, so you'll be able to go through them. And then you also need the description of the products and services, your business address, and super important, your contact information, right? After hours, during the day, anything like that. So you need to be able to be, we need to be able to get a hold of you, your business, right? So you will need to have that up to date. So now that we've gone over the fair and reasonable, the SB-DVBE option, and the emergency contracts, are there any questions? Joanne? Okay, sorry.
I saw 2 questions on the Q&A.
Yes. Yep, there is a question on the question and answer. I know that in previous webinars, you guys discussed.
I'm sorry, you're going in and out. Oh, I think we just lost Joanne. All right, so the question is, did we confirm if HubZone credit will be accepted to assist in getting awarded a contract? Yeah, HubZone is federal, so it doesn't apply to state contracts, but you gotta think about some departments do have federal, they get federal grants like Caltrans, High Speed Rail, and I think sometimes there are some things like for maybe national parks, so Parks and Rec might get some. So it might apply. You have to contact them. And it may be a contract by contract, but normally state of California, no HubZones, okay? They're asking for the emergency registry URL. Let me get that. Joanne was trying to help us out, but I lost her. I'm gonna have to put the questions over here so I can get that information.
I have returned. I'm so sorry. It was sick, but I've been here for a second trying to answer the questions on the chat. So I apologize, everybody.
No, it's okay. You know, technical difficulties happen to everybody. We've all been there. They wanted the, can you post the emergency registry link?
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and put that in right now, you guys.
Okay, thank you. I put the Q&A on the other side just to make sure that that I could answer the questions. You want to go ahead and list the and go over the other questions?
Yep. So there is a question on here. Stop me if you've already answered it, because my internet.
The HubZone?
Yep. HubZone.
Yeah, done.
Awesome. And then how does my company register with SB/DVBE from Robert?
Robert, I'm assuming maybe that you didn't come to the first and second webinars.
Mm-hmm.
We did talk over how, well, let me ask you first. Are you a California-based company? Because for you to register as an SB or DVBE, you have to have certain, you have to meet certain requirements, okay? So you have to be a California-based company. You have to live in California. You have to have, for an SB, you have to make under 16 million average over 3 years. You have to have less than 100 employees, I believe. For the DBBE, it's almost the same, but the cap is, there's different caps for, there's no cap for the amount of money. You could have your home-based office for the DBE somewhere else other than California, but you have to live in California, and you have to be at least 10% or more disabled veteran. You have to, so there's a lot of stuff. So I think, Robert, for you, maybe setting up booking an appointment with us to go over that, maybe that would be a good thing to do. Okay,
Yep.
Right?
And I'll go ahead and put that in the Q&A right here, you guys, the links for that one-on-one.
I'm gonna close the chat so you can just go over. So let me know if we're done with the questions.
We're all done, Teresa. That's it.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, so we're gonna go over the leverage procurement agreements, also known as LPAs, which I will be, for the most part, saying that because it's a lot easier. So these are also called state contracts, and they're used by state, county, cities, schools, etc. So these are contracts that the state, and actually the Department of General Services, they're the ones that make up all the leverage procurement agreements, the different types, and I'll go over the different types. But these are they're contracts that we set up so that it makes the procurement easier for a lot of the departments. They can just go and choose a supplier from one of the LPAs to meet their needs. And these are usually already, the prices are already pre-established, so you can't negotiate that those prices are negotiated when the LPA is being created, okay? So like I said, it's issued by DGS Procurement Division, and they are awarded for $0. So I know that may be confusing, but it's because what's going to happen is if you get into an LPA, okay, some sort of LPA, you'll be in a pool of suppliers. So you're not guaranteed to get a contract. That's why it says award is $0. It isn't until a buyer actually requests from you the goods or services that you'll be awarded money. Okay, I hope that kind of simplifies it a little bit. It is, again, for on-demand purchasing. So for things that the state needs on a regular basis, they might do some sort of LPA where, and there's some of them where they're actually required to purchase from those. Okay. If you want to find out more information, I did post the website there. When you get the deck, you'll be able to click on all the links, but Joanne can also post it on the chat. Let me continue with the LPAs. So these are some of the ones that we have: statewide contracts, CalCAR program, California multiple award schedules, cooperative agreements, food acquisitions, and master agreements or master service agreements. So these are some of the business units. When you get the actual deck, and Joanne, I believe I put it on the, if you can post them on the chat, but if when you get them, you'll be able to click on the links, okay? And it will take you directly if you're interested in doing ones, or so you can find out more information about each of the business units that have LPAs, okay? So the CalCAR program, California Multiple Award Schedule, so we call it CMAS, the cooperative agreements, food acquisitions, master agreements, one-time acquisitions, software licensing program, state financial marketplace, statewide contracts, statewide pharmaceutical program, and transportation management. So there is a lot to choose from, okay? It just depends on what your business does, Okay, you can go into different types, find out, and see if, because there also has to be, you have to apply for it. There has to be a, there is times when certain LPAs are open for you to apply. So it's not just like, oh, I want to apply right now. No, it has to be open for you to apply. All right, so we're going to go over the CMAS. So that's a California multiple award schedule, and it streamlines the process for purchasing. It is best value purchasing solution for state agencies and local government seeking IT and non-IT goods and services. So state agencies, local government, school districts, and different governments like that use it, okay, and can use it. And it does differ from the competitive bid, okay, because it creates, like I was explaining before, it creates a pool of suppliers that an agency can solicit offers from, and it can be up to $500,000 per order. So it's not pennies, it's pretty good amount. And it does have pre-established pricing and terms and conditions, which I had already told you about, okay? So all pricing, products, and services offered have already been previously awarded on a federal GSA schedule. Therefore, they are deemed to be fair and reasonable. And the federal GSA schedule is a multiple award schedule for the federal government. So the prices are already pre-established in there. And if you want to look for GSA schedules for yourself, I posted the link. Joanne can also post it on the chat. So if you wanted to look at something, you know, some type of schedule that relates to your business, and see if there's something in there. Because you can piggyback off of one of the schedules from there. Once that happens, if you find a schedule, then what happens is it's something like this, and I'm not the expert on it, but when you contact the CMAS area, they will convert it into its own California CMAS. Okay, so that GSA schedule will be converted into a California CMAS schedule, something like that. It's as best as I can explain it, because I'm not the expert on there. But if you don't have one, you can piggyback off of one, okay? An existing one. So there is the email information if you have any questions about CMAS, because there are exclusions sometimes, okay? So you want to email the CMAS department, cmas@dgs.ca.gov. And they can, if you have any questions, just ask them. If you find a GSA schedule, ask them about it, okay? All right, so now we're gonna go into cooperative agreements, NASPO value point. So these allow government entities to buy directly from suppliers through, again, existing contracts and agreements. So these are already, they exist somewhere. And the suppliers can bid directly on solicitations released by a lead entity. In our case, it's Cali Procure, okay? So authorized resellers or subcontractor opportunities through prime contractors do exist. If you want to find out about it, when you click on the link on cooperative agreements, you can always ask them about it. I can give you sort of the overview on it, but the experts are in those departments. So there is the phone number for that department, 916-375-4365, but you can also email them at pdcooperatives@dgs.ca.gov. So all of our endings for the emails are at dgs.ca.gov. So you'll be able to get more information about those type of LPAs, okay? Now we have the master service agreements also, the MSAs. These agreements are competitively bid by DGS and are available to any agency that spends public funds. So all the agencies, we all spend public funds. And again, it establishes a pre-qualified list of vendors, okay? So you would have to apply for it, and then you are a pre-qualified list, a vendor in that list. And then it simplifies, again, the purchasing process for the end user, which is any state government agency, the local governments, the city governments, that kind of stuff. Here are a list of the non-IT master service agreements that we know of, like the American Sign Language, the certified shorthand reporters, and that kind of stuff. Commercial car rentals, credit card acceptance. I'm not going to read all of them, but when you get a copy of this slide deck, you'll be able to get a click on it and then go to the actual site. Okay. All right. So technology, digital, and data consulting, TDDC. It used to be just called it used to be called IT Master Service Agreements, I think, before, but they changed it to technology, digital, and data consulting, so TDDC. But it's a different type of, it's another master service agreement. Again, they are competitively bid contracts, and you can go all the way to 1.5 million per order. And again, pre-qualified list of vendors, so you would have to apply for it if it does open up. I believe we just went over, they just had this one open last year. So I don't know how long it goes for. Usually it could be 2-3 years. It could be even longer depending. But so for this one, just send if you have any questions on it, if there is an opening, if it's a chance for you to apply for a TDDC master service agreement, just, send them an email and ask. But you do have to commit to hourly rates equal or lower than the lowest hourly rate that's already on the contract. And you do, as a business, you have to meet administrative and technical requirements. Okay. Continuing with it, applicants, you as an applicant, your business must accept state's IT terms and conditions, and the state can enter into negotiation process with vendors successful in solicitation requirements. So these are some of the current agreements that we have. So the credit monitoring and identity theft services, electronic information library services, IT consulting services, and IT negotiation consulting services. These are just some of them. To receive notification of upcoming application period, you have to create an account on CaliProcure. So it's www.caliprocure.ca.gov. For information, there is a main contact. So I would use the phone number or the email, but I always like using the email just so that to make sure that somebody actually responds to it. So try to use the email. If you want to use the phone, that's fine. It's up to you. All right, so now we're going to go into the statewide commodity contracts. These are for commonly purchased goods, and they're usually mandatory, okay? Off-ramp may be offered, okay? And for the off-ramp, we just had a little meeting, but it's where they can go. It depends on the LPA. It has to have it in the wording and the contract, but off-ramp is where they can go to a certified SB and DBBE first. Okay, I'm basically summarizing it super as much as I can. And it is a multi-year and maybe multi-vendor. So for this ones, there could be more than one supplier. Okay, and may also include ancillary services. If you want to get more information, because remember, the people that are the experts are the people in those departments. We just give you an overview of it. But mark.anderson@dgs.ca.gov would be the person to ask any questions regarding statewide commodity contracts. But you can also go into their website and find out information prior to you going to them, right? You want to read the information available to you before you go and ask the questions. All right. So for the software licensing program, the discounts are negotiated with each software publisher based on state spend and forecasted state purchases. There is a 2 million threshold, and there are exemptions for opportunities over the 2 million mark, but they do have to get an exemption. This again streamlines the purchasing process for agencies needing software, because there's a lot of us that use the same type of software. So having this in place, then all departments can just go in there and grab from one of the vendors. The SLP, as is known, software licensing program, includes SLP publishers, IBM, or Microsoft Enterprise License Agreements, okay? And to view a current list of SLP holders, you can go to this website. Once you get the link or the deck, you can go ahead and click on it, and you'll be able to, look at the holders, okay? And if you want to ask any questions, then we have the phone number, and again, the email address, super easy, slp@dgs.ca.gov. All right, I'm going to teach you, or I'm going to show you, not teach you, show you how you can look at or find LPAs in CaliProcure. So this is if you go into www.caliprocure.ca.gov, this is the main page. If you are to click on Sell to the State, it will take you to this other page, and then you would click on Additional Resources, and then you can search for state contracts or LPAs. You click there, and then it takes you to this search field, right? And it looks pretty much just like when you do market research or when you're looking for actual contracts, but this is just for LPAs. When you click on the contact type, a drop-down menu drops, right? And then you can click on the type of LPA that you want to look for, okay? So once you do that, I believe I did CMAS, and then I put paper, okay? Just to see if there was anything out there. I did find 4 contracts that included the word paper, okay? That's all it means. It just means that it has the word paper in there. For you to find out what type of goods and services they're actually requesting in that CMAS, you would have to click on the actual contract, okay? Just like any other contract that you've looked at in CaliProcure, to look at the actual specifications or anything and everything that's included in the contract, you have to click on it, okay? But this is pretty much a little bit about the LPAs, the different ones that we have, at least. Just a brief overview. Any questions on the LPAs?
There is a quick question. How do you get on an LPA? Do you go to CaliProcure or?
So you would have to actually contact the area, the specific type of LPA that you're interested in, and find out if there's an opening, if there is an open period for you to sign up for it. Okay, so that's basically what you got to do.
Perfect. There's no other questions on the Q&A or in the chat right now, Teresa.
Sounds good. Let's continue. All right. So there's other procurement methods that the state uses. The request for quotation, RFQ. It is used mostly for commonly, or oh my gosh, let's just go over it. Used most commonly for informal competitive solicitations. Thank you. Can't speak. And it does list what is needed by item, quantity, and price. So it will be pretty specific. The dollar threshold is generally up to $100,000. Okay. Continuing with that, request for information, or RFI, may be used to survey the market. So see if there are vendors that actually provide this kind of stuff, and also to understand what products or services may be available. So a lot of the times it's also used to project the dollars that may be needed for the procurement. So the state might ask you, okay, so we need this. Can you provide it? For how much? You know, that kind of stuff. So it is also referred to as a request for interest. continuing on other procurement methods. Invitation for bid, so IFB. It is used to obtain simple, common, or routine services for non-IT goods exceeding $100,000, and it will be awarded to the lowest bidder. And you will not be able to make any discussions or negotiation. It is what it is. You're gonna get it as they are offering the contract. And yes, price is key. SB preference and DBB incentive can and will be applied, maybe depending on the contract, right? It's like any other thing. You have to read the contract and see if it does apply. Okay. The other one is request for proposal, RFP. It is used to obtain complex services in which professional expertise is needed. There will be, because of that, there will be more rigorous evaluation of bidder qualifications. So they'll look closely to make sure that you can provide what the state is needing. RFPs are awarded based on weighted criteria identified in the bid package. And it is awarded, the award can be set before advertising as either low cost or best value. So you have to look in the contract and see what they're saying, okay? If it will be awarded based on low cost or best value. Every contract is different, so. And it is formally advertised on CaliProcure. So you will be able to see their RFPs, okay? Any question on this part of the other procurement methods?
No questions, except this one came in a little bit earlier. Can I contact the person listed under the contract if I have questions about the specific contracts?
Absolutely. You want to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into. Anytime you have questions about anything, any part of the contract, you should contact the contract administrator, the person listed on the contract, okay? Because you want to be absolutely clear about what you're getting into.
That's all the questions for now, Teresa.
Sounds good. Let's continue. All right, so contract readiness. We want you to make sure that you're not gonna miss out on any opportunity, okay? Because you let your SB or DBB certification expire. You want to make sure you'll get an email 2-3 months before it expires saying you need to renew it. So please, please, please make sure you have it up to date. And also very important, keep your SB DBB profile information up to date, okay? You wanna ensure that you have the proper contact information in there. So if you lost an employee, okay, and they were the ones that used to receive the notifications from CaliProcure, make sure you update it. That's why we're suggesting just creating like a general email box. We have one in our area. And so that way it ensures that, and you let everybody have access to it, or a certain amount of people, yourself and maybe a couple other. So maybe by doing that, you ensure that somebody is always receiving the notifications from CaliProcure, okay? Make sure that you're certified to perform the category of work. Make sure you are properly licensed and insured. Yes, I'm pretty sure that everybody has to be insured to perform work. So just make sure that part also, that your insurance is also up to date, okay? What type of contract is it? Different contract types, they do carry different levels of risk for the buyer and the seller. So make sure you understand it. Can you deliver on the contract? Are you prepared? Do you have the money, the financial capacity to deliver the goods without being paid, or the services, right? Because it will take a while for you to get paid. Do you meet the department's requirements? Determine your eligibility. Can you meet the evaluation criteria? So look at your past performance. Look at the required experience and skill sets. Your production capability, do you have it? Is it there to fulfill the contract. Use your resources. You have SBAs, the Small Business Administration, the PTACs, Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, the Small Business Development Centers that can help you with licensing, bonding, getting capital. There is, and they're for free. I mean, these people give you those services, getting the stuff for free. So, or helping you, assisting you with coming up with the different things that you need to be contract ready. Common mistakes that we've heard from advocates that have been made by SBs and DBBs, okay? Forgetting to sign all documents. Please make sure that you check. There might be initials, there might be signatures that are required. Make sure you do all those, okay? Forgetting to return all requested documentation or forms. Very important. Not responding by the deadline. In the past webinars, we showed you on the contract. If you click on the contract, it has a, what does it say? It has a deadline. I can't remember the respond by deadline. Make sure you do that before the deadline, because otherwise it's not good. Ignoring historical information available for pricing, etc. We have information on skippers, okay? It's one of the search functions under the quick links. If you're on the main page of CaliProcure, you go into skippers and you can look at past contracts, and you can look at the pricing. You might have to adjust it. Yes, inflation has happened. So, but you can also look at other places. I mean, you have the business, so you probably know better than I do. Incorrect calculations on a tax rate, etc., on documents. Please make sure that you check that. You don't want to have any incorrect calculations, okay? Leaving out required permits, licenses, and bonding. So if you're not sure, talk to some of those resources that I mentioned earlier, okay? Substituting items without the consent of the issuing department, that's a no-no. Even if it's a little screw and it is stipulated on the thing, you have to use screw XYZ. You can substitute it without getting the approval, okay, from the department. Not following all directions on the solicitation. So make sure that you are following to the T, whatever they're saying that you must do. Not filling out recycled content form. Even if you don't have any recycled content, if you don't have any, just fill it out with NA or whatever it is that you're required to do. Submitting cost proposal in the same page as the technical requirements. I don't even know what that means, because I have never done a contract, but you as a business, and if you don't know because you haven't done a contract with the state, ask the right areas, which is the SBAs, the PTACs, anybody that can help you, your chambers of commerce, anybody that you can find free, that you can get free resources from, go ahead and use them. Tips for success. Ensure your SB DBBE certification is active. I said it before, so do not let it expire. Ensure you have the proper certifications needed to do the work. These are some of the things that were also said on the mistakes, right? Don't let your certification expire. Have the proper certifications, your insurance, your bonding, whatever it is that you must have. Make sure you have it up to date. You have all that is needed. Again, keeping your SB DBBE profile information up to date. See, these are mistakes that have been done. We're telling you, these are some tips for success. Keep it up. Keep it up. Make sure your profile is robust, so buyers can find you, especially for those contracts that are not advertised on CaliProcure. You want them to be able to find you for those. Ask questions early on. Do not wait until the last minute or after the bid due date. Any questions, anything. If you're in doubt, just ask the question. Even if you think it's a dumb question, It's there is no dumb question, right? It's better to ask the question than to not have done it and lose out on a contract because you didn't ask the question. Make sure you read and understand the scope of work and requirements set forth in the solicitation. If you don't understand it, go and get help from somebody. There are organizations that can help you understand the scope of work better, okay? Understand what commercially useful function or CUF means and how it applies to the solicitation. CUF is evaluated the minute we receive the bid. You don't even have to have the contract. As soon as you submit a bid, CUF begins, okay, to be evaluated. So it is not when you get the contract, it's when you submit it. Bidders may get requests about CUF. See, you gotta be prepared. Read the entire bid. You must note mandatory requirements, specifications, delivery requirements, locations, etc. Okay. You want to note the specific date and time the bid is due. Very important. If it's due tomorrow by 2 o'clock, it has to be in there before 2 o'clock tomorrow. Okay. Make sure you have the funding available to provide the goods and services, and be prepared to wait for 45 days or longer. And this is from the time that you actually finish the work, okay? Because the 45 days begins when you submit your invoice and it is undisputed by the department, okay? So if there is anything wrong, that means that the department sees wrong. The 45 days do not start from that. It starts from the time that the department says, oh, yep, everything's in here. Everything's in the invoice that we said should be here. You're good to go. 45 days begins then. Check and double check your math for unit prices and total prices. And there may be electronic bidding needed or required. So pay close attention to the general specification, special provisions. I know we've said it several times, but it is important to note. Verify information that appears in more than one location is consistent. So if you think, oh, I saw this somewhere else, make sure that is consistent, that it says the same thing. If the bid includes a response checklist, use it, okay? You don't wanna not get the contract because you didn't use a checklist that you needed to use, okay? If your business secures a state contract, you are legally bound to deliver as promised, okay? Many contracts do not pay until the job is completed. I had already mentioned that before. For example, lump sum means that the invoice will be paid after the project or phase is complete. So that means, say your contract it took 3 months to be done. You're gonna have to have the money to pay your employees and yourself, and upfront the cost of everything else to do good and make good on the contract before you're gonna get your lump sum pay. Okay, so make sure you read the contract to see if it says lump sum or if you're gonna be paid, as you go. You have to read the contract. So these were some of the, I know that's a lot of information, a lot of repetition, but it's important for you to be contract ready. Any questions?
So we did have a question in the Q&A that I thought was a really great question that we do have an answer to. So I just wanted to share it because there's no other questions right now. And the question was, are there insurance requirements specific to RFPs or RFQs, or does the state have a generic minimum insurance requirement? And the answer came back is that it's specific in that you should always clarify with the contract administrator listed on the procurement if you're at all insured. So I just wanted to share that as a group since there's no other questions right now.
Yes, that is an excellent question, and it is true. It's contract by contract. I've been saying that over and over because every contract is unique. So you have to read it and make sure that you know the specific parts for everything, every question that you have. So insurance, make sure you read it.
And then some just came in, Teresa. So another one was, what are the typical payment terms, or do they vary by contract or purchase order?
It varies by contract. So it will be specified on the contract. Like I said, every contract is unique.
And then one more is, it says, I guess the lump sum would probably exclude a lot of businesses due to cash flow. Are there any other options?
Are you saying for upfronting the costs?
Yeah, it looks like, I guess a lump sum would probably exclude a lot of, yes. I'm assuming that Torben means cash up front, and he's wondering if there's other options.
For the only thing I would think that you have to go and talk to maybe the SBAs. A lot of times they can, in the SBDCs, they can help you with getting loans, so you can upfront the cost. But getting a loan would be one of the ways that you could do it.
Perfect. And that is all the questions right now, Ms. Teresa.
Thank you so much. Let's continue. All right, so we should be done in pretty fast. So we've gone over the commercially useful function. It is law, okay? I'm not gonna read through everything, but you are performing CUF if you're basically doing everything that a small business should be doing, right? So you're managing, supervising, performing the work that is normal for your firm's business services and functions. You're, determining price and quality, quantity, ordering, all that stuff. Now, you are not performing CUF if you are an extra participant, okay, in a transaction. So let's just say that you get a contract, but you're not actually gonna do the contract. You pass it on to somebody else and you get maybe a little bit of money from it. Yeah, you're in violation of CUF. If you get a contract and whatever it says in there that you must perform or do, that's what you should do. If you give it to somebody else, you're pass through. If you're not being used to perform the work as stipulated in the bid, that is also not performing CUF. And also no longer used to provide goods and services listed in the initial bid, that is also not performing CUF. So you have to, if you find out that we have heard of primes using, small businesses to get the 5% bid preference, and then they end up not using them. If you ever find out of anything like that, you must let the Department of General Services know, okay? Because that is a violation of CUF. And there are sanctions, there are penalties, both you can end up in jail, but you can also have financial, like a fine. And then also you can be expelled from doing any more contracts with the state for years. All right, I don't know if there would be any questions on the commercially useful function. I went over it pretty quick.
No questions about CUF at this time.
All right, let's continue on. So these are some of the resources, and I've already spoken about them. So your SBDCs, okay, your PTACs, your scores, your SBAs. We also have resources in the state of California that we have videos, we have brochures, we have our email, you'll get it again at the end. Or if Joanne, if you can get our emails out there in the business outreach at dgs.ca.gov, where you can ask questions. If we don't know the answer, we usually try to get it. We go to the experts and try to get it for you. So there is a lot of resources that you can grab, and they're free for you. Okay, so don't be afraid to use them. Just use whatever you have that's free to you, so you can become successful in government contracting. That's the bottom line. We're gonna go over just what we've gone, what we went over, which is how the state buys, the contracts exempt from advertising, which was fair and reasonable, SBDBE option, and the emergency contracts, the leverage procurement agreements. I'm not going to go over all of them because there's too many of them. And then the other procurement methods, the RFQs, the RFIs, and all that. We also went over, to get contract ready, some of the common mistakes and some of the tips for success. We went over the commercially useful function and some of the resources that you can use to help your business be more successful. If you get any contracts, we want to know. We want to know because we want to put your business out there in our website and show them, look, yes, you can become successful. You can get state contracts. We want to know about your story. Please stay connected with us. We have a LinkedIn page. We advertise, webinars like this and other things like that, other information from other state departments as well sometimes. So just follow us on LinkedIn. If you need to talk to one of us, okay? We do offer appointments, introduction to state contracting, find contract opportunities, Cali Procure registration and certification. The person that was asking us about how I can get SBDBE certified, you can book one of the appointments here and we'll walk you through it. Okay, so you can do that. You can also set up and update my Cali Procure profile. Those are pretty, Wayne gives I believe, an hour-long walkthrough of updating your profile in Cali Procure. So he's an excellent person to learn from. He's been with us for 14 years. Joanne and I are kind of newbies here, but he's been here for a while. So he knows back of his mind, or what back is his hand, right? That's how you say it. He knows in and out. I thank you for participating with us. This is the time that if you have any questions, you can let us know. And this is our, this is my information, which I have just put in there. But Sandy, I know we have an upcoming event.
Well, we have the matchmaking next week on Thursday. We are hoping that everyone on this webinar can sign up. The matchmaking actually starts on Monday, so we need registrations to come in quickly. I will send the registration link in email to everyone that registered today. I thank you for participating, and again, please know that the success of our organization is your success. You doing business with our state is what drives us. So please, I look forward to looking to see you next week, and have a wonderful week. And thank you very much for participating.
Hey, Joanne, can you post the links to you might have already done it. I'm not looking at the chat, but to the next, the SoCal 2022 conference.
I can absolutely do that. A whole bunch of questions just came through the question and answers at the very end. So if I have time, we're definitely getting through them, but always reach out to our emails, which are posted in the chat as well. And then there's also links to our one-on-one appointments that Teresa went over through and through, and we're happy to help you. But I'm piling through these questions and answers. There's about 3 left, so I'm getting to them. So we won't close it out until I've answered them. So
that's fine. We still got a little bit of time. I finished. I said under an hour. It was a little bit 3 minutes after the hour. But this is supposed to go all the way to 11:15. So we finished a little bit earlier. Great. It's good. If you wanna say them out loud, it's go ahead.
So Michael was doing a follow-up question on, do the insurance details available before sending a bid? So he had asked earlier about the insurance information, and he was just wondering if those insurance details are available publicly before he submits a bid.
Well, it would probably be on the contract. So if you are looking at a contract in Cali Procure, you have to click on the event package, and then everything under there will be displayed. So, and there will probably be something about the insurance, but you can always ask the contract administrator if there are any, if it doesn't show on the contract, which I doubt, but I can't be 100% sure, then ask the contract administrator any question regarding anything that you have doubts.
Perfect. And then Teresa, are there any products or services explicitly excluded from state purchasing?
I'm sure there are, but I couldn't name them, individually. I mean, the state buys anything and everything that is needed to perform the daily functions of the state.
Yeah.
Okay, so that should be, we're not buying, I don't know, stuff that it would be considered a luxury thing. We're buying anything and everything that is needed to carry out the functions of the state, right?
And then that is all. The only other one is an updated link for the CMAS portal. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in there for you, Daniel. And then Tim just came in with a question. Are there purchases that do not go to bid based on the purchase amount, if you know? And if so, do you know that threshold?
I'm not completely sure on that question. We can always ask our group and see if anybody knows, and we can get back to you. Just send us your email, and then we can answer that for you later on.
Absolutely. And everybody, those links are back in the chat at the end, along with our email. So it's for the matchmaking. Thank you, Tim. I got your email right here. And let's make sure that we've got all the questions. It looks like we got them all. So Daniel, I'll put that CMAS thing here, and that should be it.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you again, Sandy, for putting that again.
I share again that please register. The matchmaking will start on Monday. So we need the registrations to come in this week.
Perfect.
Thank you. I think if there's no more questions, I think we can give you back like 8 minutes of your precious time. Thank you, everybody. Are we done, Joanne? Did no more questions?
We are. Yep, everybody just saying thank you. So it looks like we're all done.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
See you next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye.